Hey guys, it's Debbie, and I just wanted to come on and do another quick art behind the scenes. The picture that I'm holding here, you may or may not have seen an actual reel or a still picture of it. This is my Socket to Me Laugh-In Wall interpretation that was shown in the recent exhibition that I was in called Pollution or Solution. And you can see that this kind of looks like the Laugh-In Wall if you're familiar with the show, or you can definitely look it up. And what I did was I outlined my version of that using pencil, and then I took some of the colors that would have been reflective of the era and painted them on there with the little shapes. And then what I did was to outline that, I went over that with colored pencil. And then the goal of the exhibition was to use recycled items. And I'm going to turn this so you can see. So these flowers are actually made out of coffee cup lids, okay, the kind that would go on a disposable cup. And I used tie-dye to actually tie-dye them. This one I did with the rubber bands, the traditional way you would normally do tie-dye, and I got the spray painted tie-dye. The one up here, I just kind of did it free form, okay? So then what I did was I was using old socks, hence Sock It To Me, plus that was a popular saying on the show. And we went ahead and I did that, and then I inserted the cup lid into the sock, okay, to give it the shape. And then what I did was to use another item that was repurposed. These are actually coffee filters, the kind that you would use for the drip coffee. So to make the center of the flowers, I actually spray painted more of the tie-dye spray on the center of the flowers, and I kind of grouped them together and glued them together and then put them in the center of the daisy that I made. So basically it's a two-dimensional piece of art. And if you like the backdrop of this, which is actually kind of like the Sock It To Me Laugh-In Wall, I screenshotted a picture of that before I glued on these 3D items, and that could be available in my online shop. But I hope that you kind of like this. It was kind of something really, fun for the pollution or solution idea. My thought process on that was that it was during kind of that counterculture era of, the hippie era. And if you remember seeing any of the pictures, Kate Hudson's mom is Goldie Hawn, and she was one of the Laugh-In kind of go-go girls, and she had, the painted sayings on her body and stuff like that. And there was sayings like pollution is a gas, because that was like a big saying, like, oh, that's a gas, that's so funny. But it wasn't just like a play on words, it was about pollution. And if you remember the door as well, inside of these lines, many of these little things on the real show actually opened up, and there were celebrities behind the doors, and they would open up and they would tell jokes. And, it was also in the time, the show ran for several years, but it was also in the time of like the Vietnam era. And, so people were looking for things to help with like what would be considered mental pollution, because they were being bombarded with images on the television with updates of what was going on, in the war and stuff like that. So the laughter helped to kind of take away some of the, stuff that they were being bombarded with. Plastic was being used a lot, and I did use plastic underneath these socks, but it was also a time where in that era, that Earth Day became a thing. And, people were becoming really conscious of the different things that they were using for household items, for, crafting items. A lot of stuff during that era too was kind of like hippie art. It was art that was made out of found objects. And I just, wanted to give you guys an idea. This is just a simple little canvas that was was basically from the dollar store, one of their aisles where it's a little bit more than $1. And these are just like kids craft paints. I did a couple of colors. I did purple, I did teal, green. I pretty much did all the colors that I had. Orange, 2 different shades of pink. I did some yellow, and just kind of drew out what I thought that the wall would look like. And then I adhered, the socks onto it. And again, the socks was part of the Sakatumi thing. I took coffee lids. I, spray painted, not spray painted, but tie-dye sprayed it. It's pre-mixed paint where you don't have to add water to do the 2 different patterns of the tie-dyeing on here. And then I inserted the cup lids in there, glued down the, petals for the flowers. And then because they didn't exactly butt up against one another, plus I wanted to have more dimension, and paper flowers were really big back in the day as well. Like people would hand make them for parties, or you could get those crepe paper decorations and stuff like that. And then I put them in the center of the flowers. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a behind the scenes on this. Again, this was my interpretation of the Sakatumi Laugh-In wall for the pollution or solution. And again, just really simple items that you would have in your home. I actually had all of these things other than the canvas. I didn't have to buy anything. Again, the center is coffee filters that are sprayed. The flowers are made out of the disposable cup lids for like coffee or, warm beverages, and then, worn out socks. And these weren't new socks. These were literally socks that, were worn out that I needed to do something with. And I don't know, it's kind of fun. I don't know what I'm going to do with all of this. I do have like a retro craft room, which is kind of all eras of stuff where I think, it would look good. However, I don't really have any wall space. I've actually had to move on to the ceiling because I have so much stuff in there. My goal is to eventually accumulate enough pieces that I've made that would be enough to do an actual show. But again, if you like the backdrop pattern, I did screenshot that before any of this was glued on there, and you can get it, online on a variety of different items. So anyway, this little hippie girl wanted to just do a little behind the scenes. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that I gave you guys some inspiration that you don't need really expensive things to make art. And this is a great project for like Girl Scouts, for like youth groups, for like homeschooling, for just crafting and stuff like that. You do not have to be talented. And what's interesting is when I drew out this picture, I actually did like this old school kind of version of what you would consider like paint by number. So instead of having numbers, which you could have done, I actually drew out the letters of the colors. So like O for orange, P for pink, that type of thing. And underneath you can faintly see them. I didn't do like a really heavy, paint on this. But yeah, you could do something so simple like that. Just find a pattern of something that you like, see what kind of items that you have around the house. Simple kids craft paint. You could definitely do this a little bit smaller. You could do it larger. You could do whatever you wanted to. And, again, just, you can do the legit tie-dye, like using the rubber bands, or you can just spray it on there. You could mix your own if you wanted to, and you could find other found objects around the house to, make the flowers out of. It was a long time ago, had a 40th, long time ago, my 40th birthday was, like a 70s theme, a 60s, 70s theme. And I have a dress that's actually a similar pattern to this that I had made years ago. But this would be so much fun for a party. I think every party should have a theme, no matter what the occasion is. And as a former wedding coordinator and event planner, I, think every party should have a theme. And this would be so much fun to have have as like a photo op backdrop. You know, like again, you could make it a little bit bigger, but depending on where you placed it on the wall, you could have this as like a photo op area, you know, for a themed event, like, you know, like again, a 60s or 70s kind of hippie party. If you were having a themed Halloween party, one time we did as a family, we did a themed Halloween party, but it was eras, you know, where people were dressing, you know, like Taylor Swift has the eras thing. This was a long time ago, but we did different eras. So that would be really fun. And you could make this, like for especially too, like if you live in an apartment or if you're in a dorm room and you can't really be painting the walls, but you want to bring in like a pop of color, you know, you could do something so cool. And, you know, also back in that era, other things that were popular were like macrame and, you know, yarn things like the God's eyes and just stuff made with yarn. You could have so much fun doing something really inexpensive. And it could be, you know, how those people go to like those painting parties. You could even do something like that fun. You get a smaller version of this. Maybe it's for a kid's birthday party. Maybe it's for an adult's birthday party. And, you know, you get some of these like supplies and let people just kind of have their creativity, you know, flow. You don't have to get as intricate as doing these walls. You could do stripes of color. You could use stencils. You could make circles. You could literally trace circles on here or squares or, you know, some kind of other funky retro shape like a diamond or something like that. And then just get out some, this was actually done with like those just inexpensive sponge, you know, painting, you know, type of, you know, brushes, if you will, where they're like a foam. I did a little bit of the intricate, I think, with a thinner brush, and then I filled in using one of those foam brushes. So just keep in mind that art doesn't have to be expensive. I'm tending to find that my preferred, I guess, type of art is definitely mixed media, and it's definitely stuff that's reflective of history and pop culture. I'm a huge pop culture fanatic. Love the Brady Bunch, so this would be like so cool for like a Brady Bunch themed party or whatever. So anyway, again, I do save these. I usually repurpose them onto other platforms, and I will probably put a little clip on here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for following. If you have any other, you know, ideas of things that you want, I have one more from the Pollution or Solution to show for a behind the scenes, and I can probably do like a behind the scenes too of the dark art one that I did last year. I haven't done that, and then I'm in the process of doing some one for cinematic devotion, and then I'm already working on another dark arts one for this upcoming fall. But if you guys have any other ideas of behind the scenes that you want me to show you, let me know. And the other thing I think I was going to show you too was something really easy next time I come on here, was to do really cool like collage art using like magazine pictures, but based around the chakras. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back again soon. All right, stay groovy. Bye.